Hello and good morning. Welcome to Stampin' Chat. First of all, I need to apologise because Alfie has just started to eat his breakfast and his food is quite crunchy, so you might hear him munching in the background. Let us check. We're live in the right place. So yeah, he quite often needs a bit of encouragement to eat his food. He's not a greedy dog by any means. And he has a very good food, so I'm not sure what it is. I think it's just become a bit of a habit that he likes a bit of encouragement before he will eat. Finally, he's finished, and also he's got really slow at eating with age as well. Okay, good morning and welcome to June. 3rd of June, I don't quite know where May went, and I say that every month, and I know everyone that I'm talking to, time is just flying by. If you're joining me, please do say hello. Got a couple of things to share with you this morning before we get going. We've got a brand new offer starting today for the whole of the month, and it's our 50% offer promotion. Morning, Helen, my lovely. I'm hoping that you'll be back home today, my sweet. It's just not fair, is it? So, yeah, 50% offer, and it's on the Sweet Collection products. Now, I was a little confused when I first saw it. I thought, what does that actually mean? And I will go through on my iPad and quickly show you. But basically, anything that is in a suite, like a collection. Good evening, Shaz. How are you doing? Anything that's in a collection, you buy an item and then you get the second or the lower priced item at half price. So it doesn't mean you have to buy a whole suite. You could buy just maybe the stamp set and get some papers at 50% off. If you bought the whole suite, you could buy a second suite at half price, which is pretty amazing. And you don't have to choose products from the same suite. So you could choose something from the Cheers and Sips, and then your lower priced item, you could choose from the Impressions Abloom. So I will quickly show you on my iPad though what that is all about. We also have 2 new kits landed today, which is super exciting. One of them is a scrapbooking kit, so I will try and show you that as well. And then also, if you're a demonstrator, we get pre-order for the July online exclusives, and I've not really had chance to look. I've had a really super busy weekend, and although I already prepared what I was doing for you, I just needed to cut the kits this morning, and it was hair wash day, so I was a bit later coming over here than I normally would. So I've not had chance to look at all of those online exclusives, but I did quickly flick through, and I can't show you them yet, I don't think really, because they're pre-order for demonstrators, so I'm not going to show you that online. But today I am going to be using products from the Impressions Abloom suite, so I will show you that, and we're going to make a really easy peasy fun fold card. So let's get you down on my desk. And we've got rain, which has been a rare occurrence of late, and the garden has been desperate for it. So, Helen, you might have to put an order in already. Oh, you may have already put an order in this morning. Oh, bless you. So can you give us a little clue on what you might have ordered? As in like theme? Was it something floral? Was it something animal? I only had a really quick look, so I will need to look later. Right, let me get you down on my desk. You know, I'm not a fan of showing the face. Right, is everything switched on? I feel like I'm all like upside down today for some reason. I feel like I've forgotten something, but you know, we'll see. Anyway, let us have a look at what we're using. My leg is giving me grief at the minute as well. Evening, Renee, how are you doing? Which button am I pressing? Oh God, sorry, that Zoom has got very fierce of late. Get this grid paper straight, wait for catch up. How are we all? Helen, I know you've been unwell. Your asthma has been playing you up. Right, let's shifty over. Get some light on. So yeah, we've had a bit of rain overnight and this morning, which the garden will be enjoying. Our grass was going really quite brown in areas. Right, I'm just going to move my camera across a bit, otherwise my grid paper is just way out of the way for me. Okay, so the buy one get one 50% off promotion runs for the whole month. Where's my iPad? Right here. Let's have a quick look. Don't know what that is. I'm just loading up my iPad. I don't know why I was looking on this earlier, but the Wi-Fi seems to be slow over here today. Okay, so if you click on like the home page, you can then see here what's new. You can shop for products, but let's just have a quick look at the kits. So we've got 2 brand new kits landing today. We've got a scrapbooking kit called Make a Memory, and we've got the Pop-Up Pals kit, which I think I saw. Did I see that on stage? I can't remember. Let's have a look at comments. Oh, the stationery themed bundle you've ordered. Yes, that is really sweet. It had some cute like paperclip dies, didn't it? I remember seeing that. Let's click on the scrapbooking kit and see what you get in here. So this one makes, I think, 3 double page spreads. So it makes 3 2-page scrapbook spreads. You get step-by-step instructions, 12 sheets of paper, pattern paper pieces, printed stickers, pre-cut images, and adhesive. And these are some samples. This is what you get in here. So you've got your pattern papers. This looks like Memories and More pieces, I don't know. And then we've got die cut pieces here and here. So really lovely. There's a couple of samples there. Yeah, it was those that we saw. Thanks, Helen. The Pop-Up Pals kit was, we did have sneak peek of that at, do you want to see it? At On Stage. So it is really sweet. How fun is that? I'm sure there's going to be some very creative, clever people out there doing so much more with this. You know, and think about things like this. This isn't just for cards. Okay, you've got your card bases, but you could use those for anything. But pop-up things, you could put them on your scrapbook layouts, all sorts of ways of using them. So let's go back to the homepage and let us see. Click on specials. So we've got bundled savings here, which are like our Stampin' Die bundles. We've got our last chance products, and then we've got the sweet sale. And what I love about this is it comes up with all of the sweets that are included. So you can see them all here. Oh, my favourite. I've still not got this yet. I'm so torn with what to get next. So look at all these sweets. There are also some that are on their way out as well. So there are so many things to choose from. So like the Country Wood Sweet, that is out, on its way out. So there are lots of products that you can choose from. These are all sweet collections. So let's click on the one that I'm using today, which is at the very top, and that's the Floral Impressions. So within this suite, we have lots of different products that coordinate together. So this is the suite collection. So that is all of the products that are in this suite, like bundled together. And you still get your 10% off your stamp and die bundle within that. Then you've got, I'm using some of the paper today. I'm using the dies and I'm using the stamps as well. And I'm using some new cardstock of the new In Colour cloud cover. and doing some kind of blue themed projects. But the papers, which I have got and I did show you last time, are really beautiful. So basically you could choose, let's say you liked the stamp and die bundle that I'm using, you could buy that one and then go to another sweet collection, and then I would buy something at like quite a good value. I wouldn't maybe choose the gems and just get £4 off. I would choose something at least for £30 to get that at half price to kind of justify that spend. So that's how the sweets work. Oh dear, I'm being a numpty now. Let's go backwards. Me and technology. We're not the greatest of friends. Is it going to go back? Nope. Anyway, so that is how you find them. You could look under what's new, and click on new arrivals. That will just show you the kits really, that are the last new things and the last things that came in the new annual catalogue. So there's quite a lot, there's a big scope there. You can of course filter things out too. Right, enough of that, let's get crafting because I got lots to do. So this is the stamp set I'm using, the Impressions Abloom. We got any more comments? So yes, Helen, if you are a demonstrator, the pre-order suites are included too. I wasn't sure I was aware of that, so thank you for updating. So Vicky, a bundle of the order of the stamp set and dies separately. The stamp set is 50% off, cheaper than buying the bundle if a part of the suite. Okay, that's a very good point. So basically, if you buy the dies on their own, let's just pull these out. And then, I haven't worked that out, buy the dies and then get the stamps half price, you will save more money than you will by buying the bundle. So that is a good point. That is a good point. It depends what you've got on your wish list, I guess. If there was a suite or a collection that you wanted, then it would be good to take advantage of that. But yes, that's a really great point. Thank you for mentioning that, Vicky. So these are the dies that go with them. So we've got lots of standalone dies. We've got the dies that work with the stamps. And then, of course, these lovely ovals as well, which I've been using to their full potential of late. Put those over by my machine. I'm also using the Glass and Gardens embossing folders just because I cannot put this one down. So beautiful. And then I was going to use Secret Sea, the new one, and I do feel tempted to recut and do this in Secret Sea because somewhere I've got, yeah, I have got some flowers stamped with the Secret Sea that I did at On Stage, and I'm wondering, maybe I will, maybe I'll switch it up. Or do I just stick to my original plan? You know, I'm not very good at going off piste and changing things up. Maybe we'll stick with the plan because it will be easier. So yeah, so I pulled out, I haven't used some blues for a while, and I don't have, as a demonstrator, I can get the cloud cover ink, even though it's not going to be available in full size, only in the mini Stampin' Spots. So cloud cover is the in colour. Grab a sheet, that we're having problems with the ink. So we've got cardstock and we've got papers and we've got markers and stuff like that, but not the full-sized ink pad. That cardstock is on my shopping list as well because I've only got one sheet left. So I pulled out Misty Moonlight. Now I am using, if I grab my kits out, I am using Night of Navy, because when I'm stamping and stamping off with the Misty Moonlight, it kind of blends to a pale blue. So The thing is, do I now switch out? No, I think it's too late in the day to do that. We'll stick with Night of Navy. Maybe if I get a chance, I will replicate in the Secret Sea and see what it looks like. We shall see. Okay, lots of bits and pieces going on here. We have got layers in Night of Navy. Cloud cover. These two go beautifully together. We have got some of the papers from the Impressions, Floral Impressions. That's what I call it, Impressions Abloom. So these are those papers I was just showing you online. I was thinking of recreating my card in these colours, but that would be something to do alongside the Secret Sea. It's got some gorgeous patterns in here. I'm not a huge fan of big patterns like this. My brain will only let me use them in small doses. So we've got Old Olive in here, but we've also got Garden Green. But I just love these kind of pattern sides. And then this is Pool Party. I might have called it Cloud Cover before, but it's definitely Pool Party. And this is Darling Duckling. So let us just check on those colours. Yeah, Darling Duckling, Garden Green, Misty Moonlight, Old Olive, Peach Pie, Pecan Pie, Pool Party, Pretty in Pink, Strawberry Slush. So lots of colours in there. So hopefully, if you were to get this paper pack, you would have some of those colours around about in your stash. Right, let's move some of these layers. Got lots of bits and pieces here. And we're going to make a really simple fun fold. And I have done a larger version of this as well, that I will show you after. So I'm starting off with a piece of basic white. You could use a colour background if you want to. Are we on a wonk? I've stuck my grid paper down and we're on a huge squiffy wonk. Let's try and straighten up. Yeah, 8 inches by 5 3/4. Let's grab my score tool. And we're literally going to score at 2-inch equal increments. So literally 2, 4, and 6. Then our second piece we need to score, see if I can remember the measurements, I think it's 6.5 by 4.5. And we're going to just score it down the middle in landscape at 3.25. Okay, so right down the middle. And then we are done. So we can give that one a little crease. What have we all been up to anyway? What have we all been up to? We've had a really family fun-packed weekend. It has been non-stop. Sophie and Alex, Sophie's my daughter, had a wedding on Saturday. So they stayed over with Luca on Friday night and then went off to the wedding first thing on Saturday. And we had Luca for the day and then overnight, and then they came back on the Sunday. So that was pretty full on. Right, let's get this folding right before we go any further. So we're going to fold inwards. Doesn't really matter which way you fold this, because you can just turn it around and fold it back the other way if you need to. And then we're going to fold it kind of concertina. And I am being very conscious that this edge here lines up with the edge of the bottom part. And then we're going to do the same on the last piece. I'm going to try and train that one, holding that really tight. Got a bit of adhesive on my bone folder there. And then we end up with the letter M or the letter W. Okay. And you may find that you get one, I've kind of folded that pretty well because I was being quite conscious about lining it up. Sometimes you get one edge that's slightly out of kilt, but it doesn't really matter too much. Okay, what we're going to do next is take some bits and pieces. So you are basically using a whole sheet of cardstock to create these layers, which for me is quite a lot. So, you know, you can see that's nearly half a sheet and that's nearly half a sheet. It's quite extreme, but it's the layers what give the card its lovely wow. And I can see I've cut too many of those. My brain obviously was not engaged, which gives me two to put to that one side to have a go with this after. I might stamp some flowers with the Secrecy to see how they come out. So the Night of Navy layers measure 1 3/4 by 5.5 inches, and then we're matting them with cloud cover at 1/8 less, at 1 5/8 by 5 3/8. Hi Julie, thank you for stopping by. How are you doing? Hope you're keeping well. So we want 2 of those, and then we want 2 more I've done in white. Obviously you can add whatever layers you want. You can make these pattern paper, you can make your card as bold as you like, but you know me, I like things very subtle. So what we're going to do with these 2 white layers is run them through our cutting machine with the embossing folder of the Glass and Gardens, because this one is just so pretty. I'm just going to run that through. Remember, the crease of your folder goes in first. Got washi tape stuck all over my plate. So we put our top plate on and run that through. And I need to do that twice. And I think what I love about a card like this is that you can kind of dress it up in so many ways. Oh guys, look, it gets me every single time, this folder. I think I'm going to do this one with the reverse showing. Absolutely beautiful. Let's do another. I do feel like a lot of my embossing folders retired and that I'm a bit short at the moment, but I did see there was another one on the pre-order for the new online exclusives coming next month. Right. So just to show you, I don't know if you can see the difference there. This is, the one on the left is like the inverted, like the debossed, and then the one on the right is the embossed. Beautiful. Then put my plates back ready to cut. We'll layer all of those up after. Let's try and do them that way. So we need to glue all of those together in a minute. Then we need to do a little bit of die cutting. So let's pull our plates back in. Grab those dies. I've seen so many things done with just the dies on their own without using the stamped images, and they're just so pretty. So we want just the oval. We'll try and get this all through on one go. We want a bit of foliage. There, and a couple of leaves. even if you're in shot. Yes, you are. And we also want some flower centers, which are these here. So I'm going to pop those down. We could just cut a circle, but this like little dotty one here will give us a lovely bit of detail. And then the other thing I want are some little flowers. Let's just cut a scrap. In fresh Freesia. And then I think we'll tape some of this down. Some of it will be okay, but these I'm going to tape down. That's not very sticky. So that circle kind of in the middle. And you have to be very careful with dies like this because they can easily go astray. Right, that should be fine. Let's just move that one over. We don't want to waste too much of that paper. I'm going to pop that one on top. Oh, it's one of my favourite embossing folders at the minute, Helen. I don't know about you guys, but I kind of get obsessed with products. I start using something and then I can't put it down. I just love what I'm creating with it, and I kind of get in a bit of a flow. That one's just stuck inside there, and the vein on these leaves is just, it cuts right the way through. Look at that. Is my light even working? Yeah. Looks really dark on my MacBook. Can you see? Because I can't. That's better. It's really beautiful. And then we've got some flowers. These are really sweet. They're perfect if you have a little happy accident and get a fingerprint somewhere that it shouldn't be. Let's bend that one back round. This one is lovely. Again, it's quite delicate because the leaves are also like heavily die cut through. So it just gives you like that real lovely texture. Let's put some of these dies back. So yeah, I do easily get, I think I get my money's worth out of my product, mostly with the majority of things, because I only buy what I love. I don't buy what I think anybody else will like, because then what I create, if I don't love it, I'm not going to create nice things with it. So these are the flower centers. You could stamp in the middle of the flowers, which I have done on some of my projects, but today we're not going to. And these are the ones you have to keep track of, because this is where these pieces get thrown in the bin. You pull out one piece and your brain isn't registering that there's still something attached here. So always be very conscious. And I don't want to tell you to work tidy and be a tidy crafter, because some people just can't, but I mean, it's totally in my caliber to do that because of my OCD, I guess. But put things back where you found them is what I will say, and then they hopefully won't get too lost too far, you know what I mean? They won't be too far away if you can't find them. When you start crafting and you've got like stuff everywhere, that's when things get lost. Helen, you're obsessed with the pressed flowers embossing folder at the moment. Oh, you love that one. I know, we just do that, don't we? We become like attached to things and then we don't want to use something else. And I've had this stamp set for quite a while, since I went to Onstage in March, which seems a million years ago. It's really mad, isn't it, how time flies. I need to emboss that one. And to be fair, I've not used the stamps an awful lot, but I have well had my money's worth out of the dies. For sure, I've used them so much. Right, let's just run this one through. Pop that top plate on. Wind it through. Adorable. And we're going to do this one on the debossed side. Okay, let's do a little bit of stamping. So, photopolymer, highly recommended that we use some kind of spongy mat. Can you see this mat is a very dense mat, so there's a lot of, you can put a lot of pressure on there and it's not going to do a great deal, but just that extra bit of sponginess will really help with the impression of your stamped image. Helen, you can have a tidy craft desk and still lose things. Yeah, I mean, that does happen. That definitely does happen. So, Impressions Abloom. It's a 2-step stamp set. It tells us that here. That here also tells us that these images are shown at 95% of their true value. Okay, so they're not quite as large as they are in person. And if I put that over the top, you can just see, might be better with a clear one, that they're just slightly smaller images than the actual stamp itself. So 2-step stamping. We could use this stamp on its own. We could use this stamp on its own, but when we put them both together, we make something extra beautiful. So let us start with, I'm going to need to just grab a wet wipe because we're going to be using the same stamp and cleaning it off, and I haven't wet my Stampin' Chamois. It's like a rock, it's solid. And that's what happens, it goes hard and then you need to soak it in water. I normally just sit it in some water, give it a soak, give it a good clean out, and then it sits inside. I'll just grab it for you. It sits inside an old grubby case, but I mean, it is a little bit squidgy actually, but it won't be very wet, not quite wet enough to clean my stamps. So we're going to start with this large flower, and we're going to use Misty Moonlight. And I have been kind of playing around with colours, and as I said, I don't have Cloud Cover, which is our new in colour, this one. We do have other blues, but I just thought if I went with a darker blue, I didn't want to go quite as dark as Night of Navy, but I thought if I go with a darker blue, then we can play around with that colour and see what tones we can get from it. So to start with, I'm going to go with the outer, like the liney image, not the solid. I'm going to infill with that after. And I'm going to ink it up in Misty Moonlight, which is a lovely blue. I'm going to stamp it down once and get like the full solid colour, which is quite dark. And then we're going to stamp Second Generation. So can we see what colour difference we get just from one stamp, one ink? And then, don't know if that's on the outside, hopefully not, something stuck on there. I'm going to ink up the solid one, but this time we're going to stamp some off, and we're going to go second layer onto this image, and then we're going to do the same because there'll be a little bit of ink left on here. I can't see because I'm not above it. Trying to line it in, and just how beautiful is that? And you can do all sorts of techniques. When you've got a stamp like this, you can do something called the kissing technique, where if you've got maybe a hashed stamp or a spotty stamp, How can I explain? What have I got that I can show you that with? Because I haven't got any spotty stamps or anything. I guess you could do something like, let's just find another scrap. Let's just try it. If we inked it with that one and then we kissed it, I wonder what would happen. I can't see what I'm doing. That did move. So I've kissed it with the other stamp. It's just a splodgy mess. But just so that you get in fact, it's not too splodgy. We've got like a bit veiny. It did slightly move when I did it. But it works really well if you've got like spots or like a very detailed flowery stamp. If you can ink up a solid stamp and then kiss it with another stamp and you get something totally different. Right, so we've got 2 blue ones. That will do for now. Let us use the back of there. Clean off. Let's just get the worst of that off in my chamois. Because I want to change colour now. So I do not want that Misty Moonlight ink going into my gorgeous fresh Freesia. One of my favourite colours, I think, fresh Freesia. That teamed with Petal Pink. I'm going to do up that ink for a minute. Right, I'm just going to check that they're clean and dry. And then we'll go in, we're going to do exactly the same with the fresh Freesia. So, a little bit wet still. Oh, my ring, it keeps irritating me. This is a ring that I bought a very long time ago. It's got sentimental value to me. But I've had it repaired because some of the claws were damaged and the diamonds were loose. And I've had it resized, but it keeps turning like that. And it's irritating my finger. And I don't know whether it's just because my hands are cold, but it's making that little finger sore. Right, we'll do one at full strength. Don't know what that dark bit is under there. That should be just enough room to die cut it out. And we'll do one at 2nd generation. And we've had like a bit of fluff or hair, a bit of fluff, I think that is. Something on there. So I'm going to do another. That will do. Doesn't really show too much. Let's do 2 more. One at full and one at 2nd. That 2nd one is very pale. Almost looks like bubble bath. And then with the solid, we're going to stamp off, because if we stamp it solid onto here, then it's going to be the same colour as that outline. Oh, I can't see. It was a bit off kilt. And then I might just huff on that just to rejuvenate that ink a bit. And I cannot see where I'm going, so we'll just guesstimate. Yeah, that one is definitely a bit too wishy-washy, even for me. But we're going to do this one again, because this was the better one. So we'll just line that in. By doing the like 2nd generation, like the shadow part 2nd, you've already got something to line it into. This one is okay, it just had that bit of a fluff there. This one I've missed a little bit here, but once it's die cut, it will be fine. So that is 2-step stamping, okay? And to be fair, let's just bring that back in. You could, so I want to keep that one, so let's just stamp. You could die cut that out. We might die cut that out just to see what it looks like. You know, so you don't necessarily have to do the 2-step on it. Right, let's put our plates back together. and do a bit of cutting. We are using the same die here, so we're going to have to do it a few times. But to be fair, we need, and I can't decide whether to do light or dark blue. Let me just see. I think I'm going to go lighter. And with this flower, can you see we've got this like petal that looks a bit longer than everything else? So you're just looking for that on your die, and I would say it was that one there, which then means you can just line it in a lot easier and faster. So I'm going to tape that down. Run that through, and then we'll do the fresh Freesia one. I do quite like that dark blue one though, that is quite nice. Helen, you're a blue fan, aren't you? You like all things blue. So that is second generation. When you buy a stamp set that has dies and you have flowers like this in, you do soon learn which way your die goes in. To me, it's just totally obvious because of that longer petal there. Right, let's cut this one. I'm tempted to cut that other blue one as well. And then we can compare whether we want the darker or the lighter. And this is one of those stamp sets, die bundles, where you can just go on and on with colour combinations and make just such beautiful projects. It's a good one for scrapbooking because you've got some really large flowers in here. And obviously you've got those ovals as well. Oh, that one moved before I got there. That was me putting the top plate on and then shoving it into the rollers. So I do quite like that one. So one colour ink, and you can create multiples of shading. Let us just do this one that we didn't infill with the solid stamp, just so that you can see. It's gone a bit brighter out there. It did say rain this morning and then clearing up. Let's push that one down. See a teeny weeny bit of blue sky. Concentrate. Okay, I think with that. Top plate on. Run it through that machine. Now, if you don't have a die cutting machine, because I understand that it's not within everyone's crafting budget, you can cut these out. You can cut out all of these if you wanted to. I mean, this one would be quite fiddly, but if you're a lover of fussy cutting like me, it won't be a problem. So we've got one where we've just left it white, or we've got the infill one. Helen, you're a big blue fan. You love Night of Navy and Cloud Cover together. Yes, they are pretty lovely together. Just a really nice combination. Like, I love that with fresh Freesia, but these together, couldn't resist. I couldn't resist. And I was going to keep it all blue. And then I was like, I can't leave my gorgeous fresh Freesia out of the equation when it's featuring in the papers. Right, let's put that one away. So I couldn't resist and had to use it. So let us begin. What else do we need to do actually? We've got one more bit of stamping, one more bit. And although we've got greetings in here, or maybe I could do the thanks. Yeah, let's do the thanks because it's in the set. And you know that I like to show you things that are in the set. So I'm going to mount up so very much. On my original, I used, whoops, the hello, because I just love it. I just love that one here from the Beautiful Butterflies. Gorgeous set. I love all these greetings actually. In case you need me, I'm here. How good is that? Right, let's ink up these. So, Night of Navy, Misty, Moonlight. We've got the scrap left from earlier. We might get our thanks out of that. Perfect. And then, so very much, we need a skinny strip. We go to the bag of offcuts. How wide is it? Might get it on there. Because it's photopolymer, we can see right the way through that stamp to line it in. Not so great when you've got a camera in your way, but not too bad. Can have one more go, slightly down at the right. It could just be the way I've mounted the stamp. That was very low, but I think we'll go with the first one. Put that away. And then we can start assembling. And a quick look to see what the time is, because I've just remembered I put a reminder on my phone, and if that goes off, it'll probably throw me out of the live. I don't really get the do not disturb. It doesn't really work so well for me. You know, the focus, if you've got an iPhone. Right, let's just trim around this one. Oh yeah, it's definitely brightened up out there. Stopped hammering down with rain anyway. Let's just trim around this one. Remember, like, keep turning your paper while you're closing your scissors. And then you won't get like any really sharp edges. So what else did we do the weekend? On Saturday, Jack had his children, so they came over in the afternoon. And they just have a whale of a time when they come here. They're on their battery-powered vehicles, got quads and gators and tractors and all sorts. They're going around the gardens. I don't know if I put that on my stories on my Instagram account or whether that was on my other Instagram account, but I did pop it up on my stories somewhere. What else did we do? And then Saturday night we had Luca overnight, and he is good as gold. That child sleeps 12 hours. Dare I say that to anyone whose child doesn't sleep more than 5? 12 hours, virtually every night. Such a good sleeper. And then Sunday, we went to the pool. We went to Jason's mum's, to the farm on Sunday morning, and we met all the children, all the grandchildren, and had a swim. And then it rained. At lunchtime it rained, so it was quite good timing actually. Right, back to our card. And then they all came back to us on Sunday afternoon. Honestly, we're so blessed. They all came over at about 3:30 and stayed, and we all had dinner together. And then they all went home, and then it was just the two of us again. And then it feels all quiet. Right, so what we're going to do is layer up all of these pieces. So let's grab our Tombow. And as I said, we're going to do these on the reverse. Let's just curve that the other way. So Tombow all around the edge, not too close to the edge, otherwise it's going to squidge out everywhere, all over your fingers and on your project. And remember, with embossing folders, you will sometimes get a little bit of shrinkage, or it might shrink just one end. So this is a little bit out. That could be my poor cutting. But just bear that in mind. I know I've definitely had some embossing folders in the past where it totally just shrinks one edge and like one length and makes it very uneven. That looks a little bit not straight down there, but let's just measure that. It's a little bit big. Just trim a smidge. You wouldn't even notice it. That one is now probably a bit bigger. No, it's okay. Right, and then you could emboss this layer. You could put pattern paper on. A card like this is great for using up. If you've got strips of pattern paper like this left from something you've been cutting, it's perfect for that, for using it up. Or even if you're not using it up, adding DSP to these panels is just a lovely way to kind of enhance your project. And as you know, Stampin' Up's papers have all of our like cool colours in, you know, like well, not just our cool colours, our in colours as well, so everything is going to coordinate. Maybe they're all a bit long. They look the same. That one looks a little bit long at the bottom, but anyway, we've got our 4 panels. And we're going to start popping them onto this base. So we're going to have it so that we've got a mountain first. So we've got a mountain, a valley and a mountain. And we're going to put these coloured panels on the outer edge panels. So we'll pop one on the left, one on the right, and I have been creating lots of other projects for an online class. June's online class is already up. Honestly, how has that happened? That one is pretty off. That one is pretty off, and I'm not sure how I feel about that, but it's down, and I think it's going to have to stay. And when I mean off, I mean there's a lot more blue showing than there is at the bottom. Never mind. If we put it that way, it might not be as noticeable. And then our panels in the middle. Why am I so fussy? I know I'm not the only one, but sometimes I annoy myself. So if I'm annoying myself, how is it making other people feel? It's not intentional though, I can't help it. I'm just not that kind of person to let things be sloppy. I'm not sloppy by any means. Oh gosh, that's a bit sloppy though. Let's put that one down at the bottom as well. Got a wider bit on the end of there. Should have trimmed that. But you know what? Whoever is receiving this probably won't even notice that anyway. I will just get that bit of Tombow that's got on there though. Otherwise it'll be sticking to everything. So we've just got our 4 panels here. And then the other piece that we cut and scored, I'm going to fold that out and we're going to layer up with these pieces. Now we're going to put just a blank piece of Night of Navy. I better give you these measurements. Next. So the Night of Navy panels measure 3 inches by 4 1/4, which is a bit of an annoying measurement because our cardstock is 4 1/8 half. That doesn't make sense. The width of our cardstock is 8 1/4, so half of that is 4 1/8. So it just means you're not getting as good a run out of a sheet of cardstock with this measurement. But this is a good measurement because it measures 2 7/8 by 4 1/8. It's not the best measurement. If it was 4, it would be great. If you could be brave and go down another 1/8, then you would get, how many would you get from a sheet? 12 from one sheet of cardstock. So this being 2 7/8 means that you'll get 4 from a whole width of a sheet of 12 by 12. This is my favourite paper. It's my favourite sheet. I quite like the old olive side as well, but it's really pretty. And I only got half a pack of this because I went halves with Belle, and then it meant we got a selection from another pack as well. Like this would look beautiful mounted on all sorts of colours. On old olive, on fresh freesia, on pool party, on cloud cover. Beautiful. Right, let's just pop this one on. So lots of layers, and it is using up, like I said, quite a bit of cardstock on the layers, but when it's done, it's just like such a substantial card. Helen, you're saying people won't notice. I know, but I can see it. See, look, I can't even just not let that bit of glue be there. It's got to go. Right, this next measurement, and I worked with my brain around this because I wanted a much bigger panel on the front. So when it's folded flat, okay, because this has got to go in an envelope, we're going to have this panel on the front. Now, I would quite like it to be kind of over that way a bit more. Let me grab an envelope. But it has to fit in an envelope. So when you're making a card like this, you have to think that it's got to sit inside your envelope quite comfortably, okay? And if it's overhanging too much, it's going to look a bit silly. It's going to look a little bit odd. And my theory was I'm going to keep it sort of quite neat and compact. And I think my measurement is 3/4 of an inch in. So this panel here is going to be stuck down 3/4 of an inch from this edge. So if we grab a pencil, and I think that's roughly about right, and we just do like 2 little measurements part of the way down at 3/4 of an inch. Like that. Can you see them there? Then when we stick this panel on, and we're sticking this one with the blue one at the front, we're going to line it in at those pencil marks, okay? We also need to watch that it's spaced evenly top to bottom. And obviously, we don't want to put glue on the whole of this panel. We're literally covering about 1 inch of the back of here. So we're going to turn it over and just put glue, if it'll come out, along that edge, like that. So just about 1 inch. And then we're going to pop it down against those lines, and we're looking top to bottom, and we also want it to be square. So I'm going to look from that angle. I'm going to fold it over actually, because that also gives us a bit of an indication. So I'm following a line on my grid paper here and here. And with the Tombow, it just means you've got like that bit of wiggle room. Just going to zoom in a smidge. It looks really dark. Maybe it's because my MacBook, no, my MacBook brightness is right up. So we've now got this. Okay, and at this point I was faffing around with where else could I stick this bit? Where's it going to work? Is there anywhere else I can put it? But we're literally going to stick it so it's the back like that. Okay, so all we're going to do then is do the same again, Tombow just on the edge. And then we're just going to close it up and push it down and hold it. And it looks a bit more uneven from the back, this distance. But as Helen says, nobody will notice. Nobody's going to worry. From the front it's straight, from the back it's not. But are we worried too much about that? Because I think once it's open, you don't even really notice. Okay, so it sits like that. It stands like that. Like, this is a special card. This isn't your average everyday card. It is going to cost you a bit more to post it, but because it's for a special person or a special birthday, that really isn't going to matter. Right, next on the agenda, and it should just, my last one did, it doesn't lie flat, but we could fold it that way to stick this down. I'm going to add on this panel, and again I'm going to use the reverse so that the debossed side is showing, and that should, door is squeaking, just fits on over there. I'm looking at top and bottom to make sure it fits. And I think what I've done, I'm pulling that off because I think what I've done on my original is used this die. I can use that for something else because the inner part is slightly smaller. It's all coming back to me now. Let's just cut one of those quickly. You can also see how gorgeous this is too. The lovely piece it leaves. I'm just going to run that through. That won't hurt like that. I don't know if you knew, but the Tombow is actually a two-way glue. So if you glue something like that and then let it dry, you can stick something onto it and take it off. It becomes repositionable. So that is the oval that I actually wanted, and it is slightly smaller. That now makes sense. But we also get this beautiful piece left in here, which I'm going to gently push out because I don't want to pierce a hole in it. Just going to get take your pick tool underneath, run it around. This just helps to keep it a little bit flat rather than pulling it out. And then we get the bonus piece that we could use on something else. So we'll save that for later, along with that one that has glue on, but I can use that for something else. And then we just need to emboss that one. So we'll pop that through. Like that. Oh, that was totally wrong. My brain didn't engage then, I had the wrong layers. Through it goes. So with the thinner style embossing folders, you have to make a sandwich between your two plates, okay? So just the solid one and then a sandwich. Okay, so we're back to where we should have been. Just another close-up. Imagine that with like your blending brush over the top with some subtle colour. Right, this one now will fit just inside that panel, which I think looks better. So plenty of glue on there because of all of that embossing. So that will fit, that's better, just inside that Night of Navy panel. Like that. Straighten it up a bit. Do it like that so it's easier. And then let's give that a bit of a crease. Then we can add our flowers. Now, this is where we need to decide. Shall we go dark blue or pale blue? Let's see it with the papers. Dark blue. Or pale blue. I think dark. I'm going to go with dark just so it pops a little bit more. Right, let's curl the edges around. Take your pick that we use about 50 trillion times a day. Let's give it a squish. Can you see how it just sort of makes our flower pop? And then we'll do the same with the centres of the flower. As I said, there are stamps, these ones here, to stamp on the centres of your flowers. I like to do the die cut middles. Dimensionals, they're hiding. So I've done a smaller one and a larger one. You could just use the larger ones. Oops, that didn't stick. Let's push it down a bit more. It's because I've curled it so much. Let's take the back off of that one. Pop it in the middle. Then we'll add some Tombow. Share that bit. And just pop those over to the left side. I need to think about leaving some room for my greeting because I used a different one on the other one. And then this one, I'm just going to pop down under there. I might just take a bit off the bottom. Literally a bit of Tombow at the bottom. Just feed it down in like that. And then my two leaves, I did one in Old Olive, one in Mossy Meadow. We just have such lovely colours, don't we? We're going to pop those down at the bottom somewhere. I think coming out of the blue flower looks a bit better. I need to go in a bit more because I can see the base of it. Maybe like that. More Tombow everywhere. And then we'll add in our thanks so very much. Now this, I wonder whether I might trim. Let's trim it, that will work better. Let's chop that in half. Add some dimensionals in. The minis are my favourites. Got a slither somewhere. The offcuts are even better. We don't waste anything, do we, as crafters? And I think we'll put the very much first. My back is really aching. Will that fit in there? And then the thanks, you could just put thanks, I guess. But why not use the stamps that are in your set? And then to finish, we'll just dot a couple of these beautiful tiny little flowers. Let's just give them a little squidge. And we'll put one over here and maybe one up there. Just give them a press down. And there we go. We've got this beautiful card. It is a little bit top heavy. To combat that, we could add, I guess if you open it out, the more you open it, it will be more stable. That's better. And then I would write my message on the back. You could add another panel here with a short greeting in there. Excuse me. And then we've got a really simple fun fold. And I say simple, when you look at it, it does look quite like there's a lot going on, but when you break it down and put those layers on, it's pretty wow, really. It's quite a wow card, but simple in its own way. And think of the possibilities of what you could do with this, how you could recreate this, all the different colours, even different stamps, different occasions. Let's show you my original. I just use the hello on there. Slightly different colour version. And then I've got a much larger version which will be coming in a PDF. This one is much bigger. So no pattern papers, just the blues. Thank you, Helen. And I've got more cards. I've been playing lots with these colours. And I've got some packaging as well. I've got some little mini gift bags, 2 different sizes. And then this one's also got a little tag in there as well. So yeah, I've been playing. And then I've got a little prototype going on of another box that's coming. So watch this space. So yes, I want to say a simple fun fold, because to me the fold is simple. It's just all about what decoration you're putting on it. So there we go. Thank you so much for joining me. I think I filled you in on everything at the beginning, so don't forget, this is part of a suite. So if you love, oh, hi Jill, how are you doing? Thank you. You like the colours together? Yeah, aren't they gorgeous? And again, inspired by the papers. And if you don't have cloud cover yet, this is actually pool party. So you could do pool party, night of navy. But I'm very tempted to try cloud cover with Secret Sea and see just how lovely that turns out. But yeah, so if you like the Impressions Abloom, you can take advantage of getting a second item at 50% off. So I hope you feel inspired by this. Thank you, Vicky. That's so kind. I hope you're feeling inspired. Go away, take my measurements. So basically it was 8 inches by 5 3/4. For those of you in using US letter, you're going to have to tweak that a bit. What you need to just remember is that this measurement of each of these panel just has to be equal. Okay, so mine are 2 each, which makes up my 8 inches. In fact, your cardstock is 8.5. So if you did it 2 1/4, 2 1/8, 2 1/8, 2 1/8, 2 1/8, 2 1/8, that will make 8.5. And then you would have to make that 5.5. Is yours 8.5 by 5.5? I can't remember. But yes, there's a way around it. So thank you for stopping by. Oh, the sun has come out, guys. You just finished your dog walk, Belle. Hi, lovely. You can't wait to rewatch yet. So recreate away, please. I'd love to see what you do. If you're part of my community group, and if you're not, you're welcome to join. It's open to anyone, whether you're a demonstrator or not. I need to get on there and pick my challenge winner for last month and set you another challenge for this month. And I'm not sure what the prize is going to be yet. Maybe it could be some sneaky project from the online exclusives. We will see. So thank you so much for joining me, and I'll be back here on the third Tuesday, if not before, in my VIP group, like my community group. I do like to try and pop up there more regularly if I can. But in the meantime, please take care, stay safe, and enjoy your crafting. So bye for now, everyone.